So the greatest bottleneck to institutional innovation isn't the lack of AI tools. It is the brittle integration architecture that is starving those AI tools of data. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Now, if you're in this room, you are likely facing the exact same pressure we see across the entire higher education landscape right now, which is the mandate to become AI ready. Now, let's be honest. Personal AI is amazing for our isolated day-to-day tasks. Whether you are a CIO drafting a strategy or a faculty summarizing research, we have all grown used to these models and they work impressively well. But here is the hard truth we see every day in the enterprise architecture world. When we take that exact same AI and scale it to enterprise levels, it breaks. Now look at some of the numbers on the screen. 53% of AI projects are abandoned, moving from pilot to production. Adoption is rising, which is great, but failing to drive ROI or business value ultimately defeats the purpose. So why does it fail? Because personal AI doesn't necessarily need systems or data integration, but enterprise AI relies entirely on it. Another metric is less than 20% of organizations do not have the right architecture. In higher education, your tools are ready. So everyone is procuring, let's say, a Copilot or a ChatGPT, a Claude or a Gemini right now. But your institutional data, which is your student information systems, your learning management systems, your data warehouses, your CRMs, are all deeply fragmented. What's missing is the integration infrastructure and the architecture. Without it, governed AI is unreachable. The core takeaway for today is that agentic AI is rarely an intelligence problem. It is almost entirely an integration problem. If that is why enterprises fail, we need to look at what this failure actually costs your university on a daily basis. We know all the macro pressures on the top. You live them every day. Operating deficits, the enrollment cliff, and funding resets. The natural reflex to these pressures is to innovate quickly. But that innovation hits a brick wall right in the middle of the screen, which we call the legacy bottleneck. When our team at Blue Altair looked under the hood at most enterprises, we saw this exact gap. We saw a heavy reliance on, let's say, for example, 24-hour batch processing, brittle point-to-point API integration, and unregulated shadow AI pipes. Now, for the IT leaders on this call, you know this architecture traps around 70% of your budget just to keep the lights on. But for the academic and business leaders, this is the root cause of your daily friction. This architecture is why your early warning student models fail. You cannot accurately predict which students are at risk of dropping out if the model cannot access real-time student information data. It's also why your advancement teams miss vital donor outreach windows, and there are many such examples that we have covered later. So the greatest bottleneck to institutional innovation isn't the lack of AI tools. It is the brittle integration architecture that is starving those AI tools of data. Now we know why this fragmentation happens, and it always starts with the best of intentions. In phase one, the incentive is speed. Facing mandates to become AI ready, departments bypass central IT to buy niche SaaS tools. For example, you might have a law school or an athletics department procuring their own CRM because the priority is autonomy and speed. Now, this leads to phase two, which is the sprawl. Your campus stack swells to hundreds of discrete applications. You create shadow data silos that IT cannot simply audit, secure, or govern. We were looking at a metric where it said large universities on average have more than 800 discrete applications running, which triggers phase 3, which is the execution gap. When departments try to move these AI tools from pilots to production, these agents hallucinate and fail. Why? Because they cannot access real-time systems of record because they are not integrated. This exact gap is what drives the 53% abandonment rate we saw earlier. The critical takeaway: departmental speed is a strategic liability without a shared architectural foundation at its core. Now, let's move out of the abstract and look at exactly how this transformation plays out in the real world.